What's up, guys, and welcome to this. This is LK Live for the 3rd of March 2021. It is currently 12:36 a.m. in the morning, and this is LK Live. It is a kind of a show that's an interesting one. It's kind of a new show. There'll also be reviews and previews all kind of on. It's going to be a daily show, so looking forward to bringing you this, guys, each and every day of the week. And on this show, we're going to be talking a bit about the NWA. We're going to talk a bit about NXT. Going to talk a bit about AEW. Now, if you're watching this going, oh, well, I've come here, I'm a big fan of Pereso, of New Japan, All Japan, DDT, Dragon Gate, Noah, etc., etc. As you guys know, we have great coverage here on the channel, the SOS Wrestle Talk YouTube channel. Subscribe if you have not done so, but we'll be giving coverage of all those shows, as always, as part of Daily Pereso. To kind of, we call ourselves SOS Wrestling Network, so it makes sense to actually make shows rather than just little clips and just full show reviews. We actually do make a podcast show, so looking forward to doing that. We've got quite a bit to talk about, so let's jump straight into it. Let's talk about, as you can see on the screen, there is the NWA Back for Attack logo, which was announced yesterday, being the 2nd of March. And they announced that the Back for the Attack event will air on March the 21st at 4 p.m. Eastern, with the price tag of $19.99, and that will be available through pay-per-view providers as well as the FITE TV app for the global as well as obviously American audience. Billy Corgan spoke to the Associated Press. He confirmed that NWA Power is also going to be returning on March the 23rd, and that will be on FITE TV. The show will air on Thursday at 6:05 Eastern. Fans will also be able to watch Power on FITE through a low-cost subscription bundle. Now, when they say bundle, it's not a monthly subscription, from what I'm assuming, because if you can view the UWN primetime shows, which the NWA did and were involved in, with lots of their talent, it was kind of you buy episodes 1 to 3, then 4 to 6. You kind of bought bundles. Rather than an actual monthly subscription. Because NWA took all of their content off of the YouTube channel that they had and built. Now, I, for one, was assuming they were going to be creating their own streaming service similar to WWE Network, similar to Impact Plus, where they were going to have all the archives of the NWA Power, as well as this, that, and the other. But they haven't done that. They've teamed up with FITE TV, which is very fair. FITE TV also airs, AEW pay-per-views and lots of independent wrestling promotions, as well as mixed martial arts companies on the streaming service. It's a big streaming service, big deal. Ring of Honor also has their weekly show up there. So I thought they're okay. If they charge $5.99 a month, you got 4 powers, as well as pay-per-views included, as well as all the old NWA shows. Obviously not the ones dating in the 80s, 90s, 2000s, the ones that they've created under the Billy Corgan version of the National Wrestling Alliance. I thought that could be a good idea, similar to what AEW have on FITE TV. I think that could have been a great shout. But they've gone with a bundle model, which will be interesting. But there'll be coverage of NWA Power on LK Live, which again will be a daily show. Obviously, there'll be days where it's busy bee, and I'll be doing a daily Pereso with Dion and the 25 Years Ago series as well, so I might miss a day or two. But I'm going to try and come on here and break down the news, as well as kind of the Western side of pro wrestling, because I do watch a lot of Western stuff. I tend to watch bits of WWE. I watch stuff of AEW and Impact and NWA when it was on. So I just kind of want to also give my thoughts and opinion on that. But good for NWA. I really enjoyed the Back for the Attack. Any card information on LK Live, we will break it down for you boys. So please put down below in the comments your thoughts and opinion on NWA. I also love the old school logo there with the NWA. It really tickles me. It warms my winky. Anyway, it warms my fucking winky. MSK, the tag team in NXT. Wes Lee, part of the MSK tag team, will be missing some ring time because he broke his hand in the Dusty Rhodes Classic finals match of the men's tag team tournament that took place at NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day. They did it in one of his dives. It was obviously scheduled to be him and his tag team partner in MSK challenging for the NXT Tag Team Championship, being Nash Carter. They were meant to challenge Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan on tonight's show that airs on the USA Network, but that won't be happening, obviously, because of the injury. So that match is going to be presumably cancelled because of the injury. It might take place still, who knows, but my assumption is that he's injured, so he's not going to be able to participate. If you see him in there with a cast on, if you see him in there with a taped wrist, it is solely because he's one injured boy, and obviously speedy recovery is wished to him. We also have, apparently, according to Louis Dangoor, what a name, Louis Dangoor of Wrestling Daily. What the fuck is Wrestling Daily? I love some of these news sites, man. I'm using lots of different variations of ones. I won't give any promotion just because I don't do that, because they're not affiliated them in any way. But apparently there are no current plans for any WWE NXT Championship to be defended at WrestleMania 37. So again, somebody's just randomly come up with, they haven't got an NXT title match announced, so they're not going to be doing one. In the end of the day, I would personally quite enjoy if they had the Hall of Fame on the Thursday, the Takeover on the Friday, and then obviously Night 1 on the Saturday and Night 2 of WrestleMania on the Sunday. I'd really enjoy that. That for me is what I'd like in a big WrestleMania weekend, because that's what they like. Imagine on... Actually, no, they can't even do that because SmackDown is on Friday. So they can't have that unless they air, and listen to this for an idea, on Fox. Instead of airing that SmackDown, they air the NXT TakeOver. Now, obviously, I don't think that's possible, as the contract is for SmackDown getting, every single week, so I don't think that would be possible. Or they could do the NXT on the Thursday, TakeOver on the Thursday, the Friday do the whole SmackDown show, do the Hall of Fame maybe Friday afternoon, and then Saturday and Sunday be WrestleMania. It'd be an interesting one to see the actual full weekend for WrestleMania. That, for one, for me, is really interesting. And obviously, it'll be interesting to see what AEW do. There's obviously WrestleMania weekend. Very interesting to see what they're actually going to do. But obviously, after last year, the NXT Women's title was defended with Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley. So now we're getting to the assumption that, NXT is going to be involved in every single WrestleMania. No, it was a time and it was a circumstance and it was a place for it. Don't just have an NXT title match on there just for the sake of having an NXT title match on WrestleMania. Then let's go to some previewing of the AEW show. There'll be a full preview and prediction coming up for the Revolution pay-per-view, which I'm looking forward to doing, and I'll probably be doing that come Friday. On Friday's edition of LK Live, right here on the SOS Wrestling Network. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. So the March the 3rd edition, tonight's edition, which will be reviewed on the LK Live for the 4th of March, we have Shaquille O'Neal and Jade Cargill taking on Cody Rhodes and Red Velvet in a mixed tag team match, which I'm praying does a really good number. It was meant to be Shaq and the Big Show for the longest fucking time, and obviously Big Show, aka Paul White, has made the jump to AEW, which is just highly amusing after all of that. So the match still could take place. I wouldn't be surprised if Paul White comes out post-match and has a stare down with Shaquille O'Neal, setting up a big match on Dynamite. I really wouldn't be surprised. Or if they set up a match for the Revolution pay-per-view coming up this Sunday. But I'm expecting good stuff. It's a big celebrity, so touch wood, it does a really good number, kind of similar to what Mike Tyson did for WWE. I mean, I'm not expecting it to be that extent, because, no offense to Shaquille O'Neal here, but Mike Tyson in 1998 is a much bigger star than Shaquille O'Neal is now. But, it could be good stuff, and praying that they get above that 1 million line again. Dark Order versus Matt Hardy, Private Party, and the Hybrids. That should be a fun 10-man tag team match. Prediction there, I reckon Matt Hardy is going to pick up the win. Obviously, they're setting up the match with Matt Hardy and Adam Page in a big money match where the winner receives the loser's 2021 first quarter earnings, which I think is a really cool stipulation and it relates to the character. And then we have AEW Face of the Revolution ladder match qualifier. So it'll be Dark Order's 10 versus Max Caster. Currently involved in that match is Cody Rhodes, Scorpio Sky, Penta Zero M, Lance Archer, and to be announced, as well as Preston 10 and Max Caster. So I'm game. I'm game for that. I really do enjoy that. I'm looking forward to that match. I'm actually looking forward to the pay-per-view. I'm looking forward to seeing on Dynamite what kind of build they have for the Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley match, for the Exploding Barbed Wire Death match for the AEW World Championship. Obviously, there's also going to be on Dynamite Nyla Rose going one-on-one with Ryu Mizunami. Easy for me to say. I actually watched the show on Sunday in the women's world title eliminator, as well as the show Monday. Obviously, Nyla Rose picked up the win, defeating Thunder Rosa. And I really enjoyed the 6 women tagged on the show on Sunday that aired on BR Live, with lots of different Joshi promotion champions teaming up to take on the kind of underdogs, which is a really fun match. Ayuko Sakazaki against Mizunami was a good match as well. So yeah, that was some really good stuff. And I'm hoping a good Taz promo as well. And I'm hoping for good promos from the Bucks and the Inner Circle heading into the pay-per-view. Their job, their sole purpose, come tonight, will be to make fans like me and yourself want to pay our hard-earned cash for AEW Revolution come this Sunday. So hopefully we come on here on a Thursday night and we talk about how great, how magnificente the build-up was for the pay-per-view. And then we have the March the 3rd, 2021 edition of NXT, which will be taking place on March 3rd. Obviously tonight, we're scheduled to have the NXT Tag Team titles online with Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan taking on MSK's Nash Carter and Wes Lee for the NXT Tag titles. Obviously MSK won the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, and this should have been a banger. I really enjoyed their match at NXT TakeOver Vengeance with grizzled young vets. I thought they went out there and they killed it. And it's a damn shame that potentially this match won't be taking place because of Wes Lee's injured hand. It'll be very interesting to see if the match still does take place. But fun stuff. And then also the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship will be on the line as Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler take on Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez. I'm a huge fan of Raquel Gonzalez. I just want to put it out. No, I think she's great. She has all the tools to become a really, really, really big star. And Dakota Kai is also really talented, so this should be a fun match. It'll be cool seeing Baszler back down in NXT where she got booked properly. Nia Jax is, we'll have to endure that one, won't we? Prediction is Jax and Baszler retain here. There's no need for them to drop the belt. Raw viewership here. It is down from 1.889 to 1.884, so a very, very small number of decline. But the big thing is here, which we want to touch upon, which I think is really good here, is hour 1 averaged 1.918, hour 2 drew 1.916, so they only lost 2,000 viewers, and then down to the final hour of the show, only down to 1.817, so it was 99,000 lost, but only 100,000 lost from hour 1 to hour 3, so people actually stayed for the majority of the show, which is really great, and that's what you want, because then they've stayed, they watched the full show, they're going to then tell their friends and vice versa, and hopefully ends up going above 2 million again, similar to what SmackDown number does. But they're kind of on the average of what they normally get. It's always in the 1.8s. The only time they went below 1.8 was on the 8th of Feb, where they did a 1.715. But everything else is just literally from the 11th of January to the 1st of March, everything is 1.8. Whether it's 1954, 19, etc. It's always 1.8. They need to get above that 2 million line. That should be their goal, is to get consistently above that 2 million line, similar to what SmackDown have done. Speaking of that, Bobby Lashley, he won the WWE Championship on Monday Night Raw. I enjoyed the whole storyline where last week where Miz had an hour to cash in. An hour to decide on what is going to happen with Lashley, because Lashley kind of gave him an ultimatum. And this week they did the similar. They gave him an hour till 9, and then they gave him an hour till 10, and then guess what? People stayed. No one tuned out. I'm very happy for Bobby Lashley. It's really well deserved. He's a former ECW champ, former US champ multiple times. 5-time Impact champion. He did great stuff over in Impact, re-established himself, came back in WWE. Everyone was expecting a Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar feud. That's what everyone fucking expected. It's not what they got, but it is how it is. He is the new WWE champion. Congrats. It was awesome. Everyone on social media is buzzing about it. Got the belt off The Miz heading into WrestleMania season. And what are we going to get? What are we going to get at WrestleMania? Are we going to get Bobby Lashley versus McIntyre? Bobby Lashley versus Sheamus? Bobby Lashley versus Sheamus versus Drew? Bobby Lashley versus Sheamus versus Drew versus Miz? There's lots of possibilities. Sound off in the comments down below what you think is going to happen regarding the WWE Championship at WrestleMania. So I'll be back on LK Live on the 4th of March 2021, covering NXT, covering AEW Dynamite. Subscribe if you haven't. And I'm loving the new idea that me and Dion came up with, where Obviously, we're doing lots of shows at the minute. They're kind of just being titled things rather than being actual podcast shows. So LK Live will be my show. Obviously, I'll have guests on from time to time. We're going to talk about kind of Western pro wrestling, do news, do reviews, do previews, do everything. And then also on the Japanese side, me and Dion are going to do Daily Perezzo. So once a day we're going to come on. It will be a review of some kind. Also, it could be a preview, it could be a fancy booking, whatever it is. So for example, New Japan Cup is pretty much every day. You'll get a Daily Perezzo every day anyway, so we're going to be talking about that on there. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure you check out episode 16 of the 25 years ago series. Episode 17 will be uploaded and 18 will be uploaded throughout today on the channel. So subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. Thank you guys for watching. This has been LK from the SOS Wrestling Network, and I'll be catching your asses.